Before we start this video, I need you to do two things. First, if you want to improve your English by listening to these stories, hit the like button right now. Second, don't forget to subscribe. Okay, let's start. Have you ever wondered who invented the light bulb? Well, many people think it was Thomas Edison, but he actually didn't invent the first electric light. He just improved it and made it cheaper. Anyway, he had an incredible life. He was a very smart man who had some amazing ideas. And today, we're going to learn about his life story. Thomas Alva Edison was born on February 11th, 1847, in Milan, Ohio. His father was a farmer, and his mother was a teacher. When he was 2 years old, he nearly died of the disease croup. This is when his mother took over and raised him. Because of this, he always said that his mother was the most important person in his life. As a kid, he didn't go to school much, so his mother taught him at home. She wanted the best for her son, and she really liked reading books. So when she saw that Thomas liked listening to her stories, she bought him a book and asked him to read it. After he finished the book, she gave him a gold coin. And because of this, he loved to read. When he was 9 years old, he sold his first invention to make money. It was a device that counted how fast trains were moving. Unfortunately, it wasn't very accurate, and many train companies didn't buy it. But the biggest problem was that he couldn't finish his school studies because he spent all his time working. At age 12, he got a job working for a railroad company. And at age 15, he became the train's operator, which meant that he was in charge of putting the colored lights on top of the train cars. One day, he saved the train from crashing into another one. For this reason, the railroad company gave him $1,000, and with this money, he started his own machine shop. Unfortunately, he didn't have a lot of customers, so he went to work again. Now, when he worked at the machine shop, he learned how to fix telegraph machines. So he found a job as a telegraph repairman. And then, after 3 years, he opened his own telegraph company. This time, he had a lot of customers, so he could hire other telegraph operators, and he could get rich. But he didn't want to be a businessman. He wanted to be an inventor. In fact, he told his workers that he wasn't interested in making money, but only in improving existing technologies. Then he hired an accountant to manage his business. The accountant's name was Isaiah Luther, and he would be Edison's friend for the rest of his life. In the meantime, Edison moved to Boston and started studying electrical engineering. But he quickly realized that he already knew everything they were teaching him. So he left school and began experimenting at home. Then, soon after, he rented a laboratory near Boston. In 1868, he met a British engineer named Joseph Swan. Together, they improved the light bulb, and this is why they are considered the inventors of the modern light bulb. But Swan returned to England, so Edison continued developing his inventions alone. Now, when he was young, he spent hours in the library reading scientific books. There, he learned a lot about science and technology. And in his free time, he would visit the American Institute and the Franklin Institute to learn even more. And this helped him become one of the best inventors of his time. In 1870, he invented the phonograph. But it was such a strange device that nobody believed he actually invented it. That's why he wrote an article about it and invited the press to witness the phonograph's first public demonstration. When they heard the sound coming out of the machine, everyone was surprised. Then he decided to create a new laboratory where he could conduct his experiments. He chose the town of Menlo Park, New Jersey, and built what would later be called the Invention Factory. Here, he conducted his experiments with electricity. He created the first electric motor, the first practical incandescent light bulb, and the first electric generator. He also hired a lot of assistants, and together they filed more than 1,000 patents. Soon after, he founded the Edison Electric Light Company to sell his inventions to the public. However, he soon realized that he had a big problem. There weren't enough materials or factories to produce all of his devices. So he decided to move to New York City and create a large factory there. In addition to the factory, he created an exhibition room to show his inventions to potential buyers. He also decided to marry. He married Mary Stilwell, who was an 18-year-old African-American woman. But sadly, she died after 2 years of marriage. Then he married Mina Miller, who was much younger than him. They had 3 children together: Marion, Thomas, Jr., and Madeline. Edison was a strict father who wanted his children to be disciplined and responsible. That's why he hired tutors to teach them. In his free time, he would take his children on trips around the country and tell them stories about the places they visited. He also encouraged his kids to follow their dreams and told them that laziness was the enemy of progress. After inventing the light bulb, Edison continued creating different devices. One of them was the alkaline storage battery, which was the first battery that didn't have to be recharged. But he also worked on projects related to movies. In fact, he created a movie camera and a projector. At the same time, he founded the Edison Manufacturing Company, which produced films and distributed them around the country. Also, he founded the Motion Picture Patents Company, which was a group of manufacturers who controlled all aspects of the film industry. The company also sued other filmmakers like the brothers for infringing on their patents. So, during this time, he worked hard to protect his inventions. He filed many patents and lawsuits, but sadly, he was losing his hearing. And then, one day, he realized he was also going blind. Despite this, he kept working on his inventions until he was too old to continue. By then, he had created over 1,000 devices. But one of his most important works was his archive. He collected thousands of documents and organized them by topic. He wanted to leave this collection to the public so that future scientists could use it. It contains thousands of letters, notes, photographs, samples, and mechanical devices. Most of these items were donated to the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. Some others are held at the Library of Congress and the New York Public Library. But sadly, Edison didn't live to see any of this. On October 18, 1931, he suffered from complications of diabetes and died at the age of 84. Before he died, he said, "I'd like to say that I never found any man yet who wasn't a combination of the good and bad. All men are products of their environment." These were his last words. Many famous actors have portrayed Thomas Edison on the big screen. The first actor to play him was J. Edward Bromberg. He acted in the movie The Current Runs High in 1939. Then, in 1940, Lionel Barrymore played him in the movie The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Then, in 1951, Edmund Custis played him in the movie The Great Caruso. After that, there were many other actors who portrayed him on television. For example, in 1970, Don Gordon played him in the TV movie The Magic Box. Then, in 1974, Robert Duvall played him in the movie The He-Man Woman Haters Club. Finally, in 1996, Paul Giamatti played him in the movie Mr. Doolittle. Road to the White House. But perhaps the best portrayal of Edison was done by Benedict Cumberbatch in the movie The Current War, where he shares the screen with Tom Holland. After he died, he received many posthumous honors. For example, in 1958, he was named the Man of the Year by Time magazine. In 1966, a U.S. Navy ship was named after him. Then, in 1969, he was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. And finally, in 1980, the Edison Electric Institute established the Edison Electric Medal to honor him. So those are the main events in Thomas Edison's life. He was an amazing inventor who changed the world. Thanks to his inventions, we can use electricity every day. And without the light bulb, our nights would be dark and dangerous. So we should thank him for everything he did for us. Now I want to ask you some questions about the video. Write the answers in the comments section below. First, who invented the first electric light? Second, what was Edison's first invention? Third, what type of device did Edison invent that nobody believed he invented? Fourth, where did Edison create most of his inventions? And finally, what year did Thomas Edison die? Okay, now it's time to check your answers. The first question, who invented the first electric light? Joseph Swan and Thomas Edison. The second question, what was Edison's first invention? A device to count the speed of trains. The third question, what type of device did Edison invent that nobody believed he invented? The phonograph. The fourth question: where did Edison create most of his inventions? In his laboratory in Menlo Park, New Jersey. And the fifth question: what year did Thomas Edison die? In 1831. So if you got all the answers right, I want to congratulate you. You are a true English learner. Keep watching my videos, and you will become fluent in English in no time. Now I'm going to give you 2 challenges. First, please write me a comment in English. I will read some of them in my next video. And second, please share this video on social networks. It helps the channel and motivates me to continue uploading videos. Please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.